Picture this. You are at the absolute peak of your career. You're shattering global records, you're playing sold-out stadiums all over the planet, and the world is quite literally in the palm of your hand. And then, boom. You have to hit a hard pause on the whole shebang. Why? To fulfill mandatory national defense duties. It's a striking reality that is unique to South Korea, creating this massive, highly visible collision between global celebrity and uncompromising national law.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating story of duty, divide, and dynamite. We're going to look way past those sensational headlines to understand exactly how South Korea's conscription system works. We'll explore why its ripple effects impact literally everything, from individual lives to heated domestic politics, all the way to the very top of the Billboard charts.
Here is how we're going to break it down. First, we'll map out South Korea's mandatory service. Second, we'll walk through the actual mechanics of the draft. Third, we'll dive into the gender politics divide. And finally, we'll look at pop stars in uniform.
Okay, let's jump right into part 1, South Korea's mandatory service, the baseline reality.
18. That is the crucial age of conscription eligibility here. Just try to imagine the sheer weight of that commitment dropping on you. Right as young South Korean men are finishing high school, taking intensely stressful university entrance exams, or just starting to figure out their careers, the clock starts ticking. They officially have to register. It's this universal baseline that completely dictates how they map out their early adulthood, when they can travel, when they can study, and when they must serve.
So how does this actually play out in practice? Let's move to part 2, mechanics of the draft, and look at the bureaucratic process. When you strip away the emotion and the politics of it all, you're left with an incredibly relentless, highly organized machine. Step 1, the physical examination. It's a rigorous check that determines your fitness level and your exact service type. Step 2 is active duty. This means giving up roughly a year and a half of your life entirely to the state. And it doesn't even end there. Step 3 drops you right into reserve forces duty. The commitment doesn't just vanish the day you take off your uniform. You're on call for years, required to regularly return for training.
So what you really need to take away from this is that the system is non-negotiable. Conscription ensures national hard power through strict, structured military law, and there are virtually zero exceptions. It honestly doesn't matter if you're a brilliant engineer, a top-tier medical student, or a worldwide cultural icon. The law sees you, first and foremost, as a citizen who is required to maintain the physical security of the border.
But as you can guess, an uncompromising baseline like that creates intense internal friction. In part 3, we're going to look at the gender politics divide and its societal symptoms.
Now, we need to look at this impartially because it is a deeply complex issue. On one side, you have the very real, deeply felt grievances of young men. They're facing a hyper-competitive civilian job market, and losing up to 18 months of their absolute prime years breeds a lot of resentment over delayed careers and having to bear this exclusive, heavy burden. But on the flip side, feminist perspectives offer a much broader societal critique. They argue that a system rooted in entrenched militarism inherently reinforces traditional, patriarchal structures, which hinders broader gender equality and social mobility across the entire country.
And these competing perspectives are directly resulting in deepening internal political divides. What we're seeing play out is a fundamental clash over how national duty is even defined in the modern era. There is an immense tension between individual sacrifice and societal equality, making for a highly heated domestic political environment. So ultimately, a defense policy that was designed strictly for the border dramatically ripples out and causes real, tangible friction in everyday society.
Right, so how does this strict law and political tension play out on the global stage? Let's move to part 4, pop stars in uniform, and examine this ultimate cultural collision. Seeing massive idol groups like BTS serve in the military perfectly encapsulates this whole tension. It's the ultimate clash of influence, balancing massive global soft power against mandatory hard power. Just think about it. South Korea has spent years brilliantly cultivating K-pop into an economic and diplomatic juggernaut. It generates billions of dollars and unparalleled global goodwill. Yet, when that clock strikes, all of that unprecedented soft power has to immediately yield to the cold, hard power requirements of the state. It's wild.
But there is this profound, almost cathartic emotional shift when that commitment is finally complete. A pop star's military discharge marks a triumphant return to global culture after fulfilling their national duty. Seeing these seemingly untouchable stars sleep in normal barracks and serve alongside everyday citizens
only to return to massive world tour stadiums is a really powerful cycle. They go in as soldiers fulfilling a strict legal obligation, and they come out as global icons who have unequivocally paid their societal dues.
So I want to leave you with this to chew on. As South Korea's global cultural influence just keeps on exploding and its internal political divides over gender and service deepen, how is the definition of national duty going to evolve? As massive soft power and strict hard power continue to inevitably collide, what does the future hold for the young citizens caught right in the middle? Will this rigid system eventually have to adapt to a modern world, or will it forever remain an immovable cornerstone of the nation?